If you don't post photos of yourself on social media, you might be more mentally stable than 90% of your friends. Seriously, while everyone else is chasing legs and obsessing over their angles, you're just living. And that says more about your psychology than you think. So today, we're diving into what's actually going on in the minds of people who keep their faces offline. Because in 2025, that's basically a superpower. Let's be real for a second. When you scroll through Instagram or TikTok, what do you see? Perfect selfies, staged candid shots, people documenting every single moment. There's this unspoken pressure that if you don't post yourself, you're either hiding something or you're weird. I've had friends tell me they think someone's sketchy just because their profile picture is a dog, but that's ridiculous. The truth is way more interesting. The first big reason people avoid posting selfies: privacy. And I'm not just talking about, I don't want strangers seeing my face. It's deeper than that. These people understand that once you put something online, you lose control of it forever. Your photo can be scraped, used in AI training, photoshopped, or even catfished by someone else. People who don't post their photos have this psychological trait called future-oriented thinking. They're playing the long game. They're not paranoid. They're just 3 steps ahead. They know the internet never forgets, and they'd rather not be part of some database they never signed up for. But there's another layer here that's even more fascinating. People who don't seek online validation through photos usually have something called internal validation. Their self-worth isn't tied to how many people double-tap their face. Think about it. When you post a selfie, a part of you is asking, do I look good enough? Will people approve? But if you never post, you never ask that question. You're free. Psychologists call this self-determination. You're not letting external approval drive your actions. And honestly, that's rare these days. Now, some people think it's just about being shy or having low self-esteem, but that's actually backwards. Sure, some people don't post because they're insecure, but a lot of the time it's the opposite. They have such stable self-esteem that they don't need to broadcast their life. They don't need to prove they exist by showing their face to hundreds of people. They know they exist. They know their value. And they don't need the algorithm to confirm it. Then there are the introverts. Social media is exhausting for them. Every notification, every comment, every like, it's all social interaction that drains their energy. Posting a photo opens the floodgates to small talk, to "you look great" comments that they then feel obligated to respond to. It's performative. And introverts hate performance. They'd rather have deep, real conversations with 3 people than shallow interactions with 300. So they just don't post. It's not antisocial, it's energy management. Here's where it gets really interesting. People who don't post photos often have a stronger sense of authenticity. They live in the moment instead of documenting it. You know when you go to a concert and half the crowd is filming? The person not posting is actually experiencing the music. They're not thinking about how this will look on their story. They're just there. That psychological trait is called present moment awareness, and it's linked to lower anxiety and higher life satisfaction. So while everyone else is crafting their digital persona, these people are crafting their actual life. But let's address the elephant in the room. Does this mean posting photos makes you insecure? Not necessarily. It's about motivation. If you're posting because you genuinely want to share a moment or connect, that's healthy. But if you're posting because you need the validation, that's where it gets dicey. The people who never post, they've just opted out of that entire game. They see the comparison trap for what it is. A trap. They know that every time you post, you invite comparison. And comparison is the thief of joy, as they say. There's also a security element. Not cybersecurity, but emotional security. People who don't post are often more protective of their relationships. They don't need to prove they're happy by posting couple photos. They don't need to show off their friend group. Their relationships are real, not for show. And that's a huge sign of psychological maturity. They don't need an audience for their life. And here's the climax moment. The real reason this matters. We're living in an attention economy where everyone is selling themselves. People who don't post their photos are the only ones not participating in that economy. They've decided their identity isn't a brand, their face isn't content, and that decision? It requires a psychological strength most people don't have. It requires saying no to the dopamine hits, no to the peer pressure, no to the cultural norm that says you must be visible to matter. So the next time you see someone with a blank profile picture or a nature photo instead of their face, don't assume they're hiding. Assume they've figured something out. They might be more secure, more private, more authentic, and more present than anyone else on your feed. They're not antisocial, they're pro themselves. At the end of the day, whether you post or don't post isn't a moral thing, but understanding the psychology behind it reveals something about our culture. We've normalized oversharing to the point that privacy looks suspicious. But maybe, just maybe, the people who keep their faces offline are the ones who are actually free. So here's the real takeaway. Question why you post, or why you don't. The answer might tell you more about your mental state than you think. Anyway, that's it for today. Subscribe if this resonated with you.